Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. How you doing? This your one and only Facebook Minister Eric Robinson on here. Today is Tuesday. Y'all know usually when I get on these live, you know how I do. I jump on here. You know we feel have our heart-to-heart talk. Today's heart-to-heart talk is 10 Commandments to have in order to have a relationship with God. So instead of my church, VDM, Visual Discipleship Ministry, we're doing a series based off out of the Old Testament, particularly kind of surrounding Exodus. So I know last week I did a part about getting released and staying released, but coming on here to give more of an explanation about the next part in Exodus that's good is the 10 Commandments. But the top two, I think more important too, is the two in the New Testament. But let me list them right quick before I go into the list of the 10 Commandments from the Old Testament. But before we go into it, we gotta go before the throne of grace. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you today. We thank you for the encouragement, heart, mind, body, soul. Lord, as we go into His Word to get explanation, let the people get a clarity and understanding of what you're saying, instructing them in order to them to have a great relationship with you, Lord. Heavenly Father, in the name of Jesus, decrease me so you may increase. Remove my spirit and insert your spirit inside me, Lord. Have your way in this message. In your Son, Jesus' name, amen. So, the two I was talking about from the New Testament is love God with all your heart, all your mind, and all your soul. And the other one is to love thy neighbor as thyself. And that one, the one that sticks out to me the most about them is to love thy neighbor as thyself. And what I think, and not what I think, what it's saying to me is, it's a saying that I thought about, I put together. The way you treat yourself is the way you, scratch that, forgive me. The way you treat people is the way you actually treat yourself. The way you treat people is the way you actually treat yourself. And you're like, Minister Eric, what do you mean by the way I treat people is the way I treat myself? I treat myself good. Then you ought to treat people good. It's saying because how we often would ask people to respect us. But how can someone respect you if you don't respect yourself? So we get mad and upset, come on social media and say, oh, nobody don't respect you because you don't respect yourself. In order for people to respect you, you got to respect yourself. Self-respect, anyone? So we got to have self-respect for ourselves. If we don't show our self-respect, then how do we anticipate anyone to respect us? We're trying to demand respect, but what's the point of demanding something if you don't do it to yourself? What's the point of asking for something out of people if you don't do it yourself? You want somebody to be honest with you, but you can't be honest yourself. If you want people to respect you, but you can't respect yourself. If you want people to be loyal to you, you can't even be loyal to yourself. So how can you reciprocate these things back to other people if you can't do it to yourself first? Ooh. So, let me get off that. So, one of the 10 Commandments from the Old Testament is coming from Exodus chapter 20, verse 1 through 17. But I'm just going to read off the 10 Commandments. You should not put no other gods before me. Placing God first and foremost in your life is very important. So, Minister, what do you mean you should not put no other God before me? A God don't have to be a physical thing. It could be job, family, kids, wife, husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, friends, job. All these things is in the way of you treating them as your God before you having that spiritual relationship with God. So It's saying in a way we need to put God first and foremost. We need to ask God and acknowledge Him in everything we do. Because when we don't acknowledge Him in everything we do, we just do any old sort of kind of thing and expect it to work out. No proper acknowledgement, no proper plan, it's going to fall apart. So that's what that commandment is talking about. The next one is, thou shalt not make idols. Video games, your spouse, your significant other, your family, your job, your jewelry, your money. That's making idols. We idolizing these things. But idolizing these things is not going to have us have a good relationship with God, and it's not going to get us into heaven. So me worrying about making money is me turning it into an idol. Me treating my spouse, my significant other, is also in a way of turning it into an idol. That's just saying worshiping things, the unseen creator, rather than worshiping only the unseen creator rather than objects or concepts. That's what it's talking about. The next one is talking about, you shall not misuse the name of the Lord, respecting God's character and authority rather than treating His name lightly. So, what that one saying, Mr. Eric? Stop misusing, abusing God's name in the wrong way, especially when you know you're in the wrong about something. It's just saying, let me put it in this way. God is saying, put some respect on my name. That's what He's saying. Put some respect on my name. Stop misusing, abusing my name, especially when you getting yourself in trouble. You abusing my name. Respect my name. Respect it. That's what He's saying. That's just another way of saying it. So I had to have that little moment, y'all. The next one is talking about, remember the seventh day to keep it holy, setting aside time to rest, worship, and spiritual renew. Talk to me, Minister Eric, what that was talking about. It means you honor the seventh day. Everybody think it's pretty much Sunday when it's actually Saturday. But that's another day and another time. Let's talk about it. So it's saying this is one of the days that we should be able to rest, relax, worship, get a spiritual renewness to prepare for the next day, prepare for the week ahead. That's what it's just saying about the seventh day. Relax, rest, spiritual renewness. Because we can't just keep going and trying to go in these spiritual battles on empty fumes and hoping and getting us by until the next filling station, which is either service or even Bible study. Yeah. So that's what that one's talking about. The next one is let me gather myself on this one. This is a good couple laughs, but at the same time, this part might get some people mad. Honor thy mother and thy father, respecting and caring for your family. That's out of these 10 commandments. That one has the utmost promise behind it. And it's talking about for your days will last longer. So if you constantly being disrespectful and dishonoring your mom and your dad, you're actually shortening your days. People are like, no, I'm not. I ain't shortening my days. But there's a thing called honor and respect. We can agree to disagree, but at the same time, there still have to be respect. I always hear this from my parents, especially if I want to get big, bold, and brave. son, I love you, but I brought you into this world, and I will sure take you out. Yeah. You often would hear that when it comes down to you getting to that point, you too confident to your parents. And me being taller than both of my parents, I get that talk. But in the word, it's talking about to honor. It's saying respect and care. If you don't respect and care for your family, care for your parents, rather than you living a good longevity life, you shorten it down by being disrespectful, disobedient to your parents. We might don't like the things that comes out their mouth. We scratch our heads. I was like that at times, so I ain't gonna lie. But then I had to learn I can agree to disagree, but do it in a respectful manner. Not showing them I can cuss them mind, I can throw hands with them. I know another thing that came into mind I read about it, Lord. I can't pinpoint directly in the word, but I know it came from in the New Testament. It says, if it's in the, it says, obey those who have rule over you. So that means if your parents sending you somebody to school, that school is responsible for you until the end of the scheduled day that school ends. So that's another way I like to say, obey the laws of the land. So when you leave from out of your parents' house, it's another thing of saying, boy, remember, you're the representation of your parents. Because the way you conduct yourself is the way they're going to see how your parents raised you. So we always have to keep in mind that the way, because we are a representation, even in the marriage, even in ministry, you are a representation. My wife is a representation of me. I'm a representation of her. I am a representation of Eric Robinson Sr. and Carla Ross. So when I set foot out the door, going to school, I am a representation. And the way I conduct myself will show how my parents raised me. If they see me act any old kind of way, that's letting me know your parents must didn't do a good job of raising you. And I hate to be that flat honest, but it's the truth. The way you go out and present yourself and you conduct yourself is showing, have your mama and your daddy been raising you right? Because you got no business coming out there, coming to school and acting any kind of way you want to. Especially you thinking they're going to have your back when you know you in the wrong. I work for the school board. I've been working for the school board for 11 years. I can say firsthand, I see kids act any sort of kind of way and thinking there aren't any consequences. Yeah. And then when we present the evidence on how a child acts, how a parent react to it shows, oh my goodness, this parent just let this child get away with doing anything. Based upon how the parents react when you present the evidence in a respectful matter of the situation of presenting, hey, your child been doing this in school, and present the evidence respectfully. And you will know how the child been getting away and be allowed to do what they want based upon how the parent reacts to these situations. I have parents act any kind of way and say, oh, my child be an angel at home, but acting like a devil at school. Oops. So you didn't teach your child right from wrong. It should not be a school job, boy. It should not be the school responsibility to teach your child right from wrong. I always kept in mind that education starts at home before it sets foot out the door. So if we're not teaching at home, these kids act any kind of way they want to. But then when they go to jail, they get drunk, they get their behinds handed to them out here in the streets, they're in the hospital, then we want to blame everybody else rather than blaming the people that need to be blamed the most, and that's the parents. Oops. The child and the parents, meaning the parents didn't teach the child right from wrong, and they didn't tell them that's wrong to do. So that one is talking about, because the fact of we're constantly feeling like we're failing. Even we sit back and say, well, I taught all I could do into my best ability. It was up to, as long as that child is under your roof and until they turn 18, you are still technically responsible for them. And how they go out here is representing you. And it represents how you've been raising this child. Hate to say it, I'm just being honest. Okay, let's get off that one. Next one is, you shall not murder. Valuing the sacredness of human life. What you doing going out here murdering people? I see and hear so many people dying over unnecessary things. I'm being honest. Some of y'all go out here and make some foolish choices and decide to fight and murder somebody over some unnecessary foolish things. And I took this and I learned this. I said, you know what? If this person brought this type of situation, I'm not going to defend them. What I mean is, let me help y'all out. Let me help you out. What's the point of going to jail and getting killed over a situation somebody brought into your situation? You were at peace and somebody just brought chaos into your peace. So that chaos just disturbed your peace because of the fact that you allow somebody to bring it in. Especially, God help me. I need to say it on task, but this got to come out. Why do you let people bring chaos, drama, and calamity into your peaceful life? If you know your life is peace, why invite calamity and drama into it? Why even get to the point you finna die, you finna go to jail, you finna be in the hospital for something somebody else brought onto your doorsteps? I want to do it on time. We do so much of this, it's not even funny. Thou, or I'm going to say it like this, you shall not commit adultery, honoring commitment and fertility in marriage. That's what this one's talking about. It means, what's the point of having your cake and eat it moment? What's the point of you sitting up there trying to have your extra side piece because your main piece ain't home, ain't doing right? And let me be real with you. Adultery doesn't have to be involved in sex. Oops. Did I say that? I said that and I made me cough. Anyway. It does not have to even involve sex. Because the thought starts here and here before you even implement it physically. So, Lord forgive me. So if I'm sitting up here and looking and lusting out on another woman, I've already committed adultery and I didn't even have to do the physical act. You be like, no, that ain't adultery. You just looking. You're a man. You're a man. You see something good. But if it comes to my mind about it, we just committed adultery. People think, no, it's not. Yes, it is. You don't have to physically have to be involved in it. It's already came to your mind. Good morning. So, the next one is, thou shalt not steal. I'm going to say, you shall not steal. And it says, respecting the property and the rights of others. I got a question. Why y'all sit up here always going out here and stealing people's stuff? rather than just putting the effort going out and earning it for yourself, but you want to steal somebody's hard work and effort for what? Just to see if you can do it? For what? You to have it because you're trying to keep up with the Jones and the Smiths? Or to do it just to impress your friends that don't really have a heaven and hell to put you in? Or you feel because, oh, they got it, I want it. If I can't get it, they can't have it. Stop with this stealing. And it doesn't have to be involved in materialistic things. It could be people. Oops. Y'all didn't know that, right? So the next one is, you should not lie. In another way, we're going to say it like this. 2, you should not bear false witness. Speak the truth and protect the reputation of your neighbor. That means, how should I say? Right. What the heck you doing lying on somebody? Why are you bearing false witness to this person? For what? Because what? They didn't reciprocate their feelings to me. They said one thing and did something else. With what proof? That's false. That's just another way of saying falsely accusing. That's saying when it says bearing false witness, that's just another way of saying I'm falsely accusing I'm falsely accusing you of something that didn't even really happen. I'm just mad because you're this. So let's continue. The purpose is rooted in grace. The commandments do not begin with a rule, but a reminder of God's grace. I am the Lord your God who brought you out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery. Exodus chapter 20, verse 2. They are meant to guide already freed people, not to be a list of restrictions. So it's the purpose of it. One of the purposes is I'll deal with that in a second, y'all. So it's talking about, I am the Lord the God who brought you out of Egypt and out of the land of slavery. They are meant to be guides. These commandments are meant to guide us. But we take in the guide and calling it restrictions. You're restricting me from being better. You restricting me from doing this. There's another thing called, what's that word that you set requirements? What's that? Oh, there it is. Boundaries. These are guides that help set boundaries for what you should and should not allow to happen to you, what you should and should not be doing, what you should and should not be saying, what you should and should not be going against God about. Anywho, next part of it is the 2 greatest commandments. I was right. Is in the New Testament. Jesus summarized 10 commandments into 2 core principles. Love God with all your heart and love your neighbor as yourself. Matthew chapter 22, verse 36 and 37. Not 37. Chapter 22, verse 36, not 26. 36 through 40. But the one that sticks out to me the most is to love thy neighbor as thyself. I know I'm doing the other part, love God with all your heart. But the one that sticks out to me often is to love thy neighbor as thyself. Love your neighbor as yourself. That's why I was saying the way we treat people is the way we actually treat ourselves. I do good about myself. How can you do good about yourself, but you can't do good with your neighbor? Really take the mirror and look at yourself and say the exact same thing to yourself. God, I treat myself good, but why you can't treat your neighbor good? Why you can't do right about your neighbors? And don't have to be a next door neighbor. It could be friends. It could be family. It's just saying, how you want to be treated, you need to treat everybody else the same way. And you decide to take it the sideways and go wrong with it, that's nothing but you not trying to lack and comprehend and understand. All that one sticking out to saying is the way you treat people is the way you treat yourself. You treat yourself right, treat other people right, do right about them. But then you want to say you're a child of God. How you have a relationship with God? How are you a child of God? And look how you're treating your brothers and your sisters. Yeah. And the last part is, it's a mirror for us. Apostle Paul explains that the law shows us what is right, but also reveals our human imperfection and our need for God's forgiveness. Romans chapter 3, verse 20. Too close to the mirror to see what you see. Anywho. But that's the thing about the 10 Commandments. But like I said, the two that sticks out the most, even for me, is to love thy neighbor as thyself. Treat your neighbors right, you're going to be treated right. Treat God right, you definitely going to be treated right. God's still going to love you, but boy, look here, you don't got no business giving nobody no hard time. For what? Somebody else did? So, that was the heart-to-heart talk. I might as well call it a heart-to-heart teaching this go-round. So, remember, the 10 Commandments are not things to restrict us. These are things to set boundaries and remember to keep in mind in order to have a great relationship with God. Most people of us can't have a good relationship with God when we neglecting and not taking heed to the commandments that God has given us. That the fact that these commandments help us and guide us into having a relationship with God. It helps us set the boundaries and knowing that the boundaries are set. And God's just saying, well, you ain't for to act any kind of way, won't you? I want to let you know this. You ain't going to kill. You ain't for to steal. You ain't for to commit adultery. You're not for to lie on your neighbors. So if I'm not doing all this to you, why are you doing it to me? Not only are you doing it to me, you're doing it to your brothers and sisters and expecting me to still bless you. Oops. But this is your one only Facebook minister, Minister Eric Robinson Jr. I pray that you got something out of it. I pray that you be able to apply it to your life. I pray in some aspect in your life. I pray that you be able to lift your head up and just say, yeah, God, I want a better relationship with you. Or even to the point of looking in the mirror and talking to God and say, God, what is it about me? What is it about me I need to work on and have a better, in order for me to have a better relationship with you, God? You won't know unless you ask. If you don't ask, you don't get. And then when we don't ask, not only don't we don't get, not only do we don't get it, we won't know how unless we ask. We won't be able to change unless we ask. This is your one and only Facebook minister. That was the heart talk, and I always wrap my session saying, I love y'all, appreciate y'all, thank you for hearts, likes, shares, and encouragement. Y'all have a God bless morning, afternoon, evening, and night. God bless y'all, love y'all, peace.